Let's talk about sleep. You know, that thing we're supposed to spend about a third of our lives doing. Yet, for so many of us, it feels more like a nightly battle. Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the science of sleep, and you might be surprised at how simple it actually is.
Yeah, why is a good night's sleep so hard to get? You know the feeling, right? You do everything you're supposed to. You avoid caffeine, you put your phone away, and yet, there you are, staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering, why is this so hard? It's supposed to be the most natural thing in the world.
Well, it really comes down to this. Our modern world is basically at war with our ancient biology. Think about it. Our bodies are running on software that was programmed millions of years ago, designed to work with the rising and setting of the sun. But our world today? It's all artificial light, glowing screens, and demanding schedules. It's like we've thrown a huge wrench into this beautifully fine-tuned machine.
And that brings us to what we can call the modern sleep dilemma. Because this isn't just about feeling a little groggy. This fundamental mismatch is a serious problem, and it's hitting our health, our mood, pretty much everything. Okay, but here's the good news. The key to solving this is to understand how sleep is actually regulated in our brains. And believe it or not, it's a lot simpler than you might think. Once you get this one core concept, you can stop fighting your biology and start working with it, and that changes everything. So what is this big secret? It all boils down to something called the two-process model. Basically, you can think of your brain as having two different timers, or two clocks, running at the same time. And these two timers are the ones calling the shots on when you feel tired and when you feel alert. Let's break them down. Okay, first up, we have what's called process S. The S stands for sleep, and the easiest way to think about this is sleep pressure. Imagine a pressure valve in your brain. From the second you wake up in the morning, a chemical called adenosine starts to slowly, steadily build up. The longer you're awake, the more of this stuff accumulates, and the higher that pressure gets. This is what creates that physical, undeniable need to sleep. Now, the second timer is totally different. This is process C for circadian. If sleep pressure is a valve that just builds up, this is more like your body's master clock. It's located deep in your brain in a spot called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN for short, and it's running on a roughly 24-hour cycle, sending out these wave-like signals that tell you, okay, time to be alert, or all right, time to wind down. And the number one thing that sets this clock every day? Light.
So let's just compare these two timers real quick. Process S, the sleep pressure, is all about the need to sleep. It just builds and builds. But process C, the circadian clock, is all about the timing of sleep. It dictates when the best window for sleep is. See the difference? One creates the want, the other creates the when. And the real magic, the secret to fantastic sleep, is getting these two to sync up perfectly. And this is really the whole ball game right here. The absolute best, most restorative sleep you can get happens when these two systems peak at the same time. Imagine it. Your sleep pressure is maxed out, you've been awake all day, and at that exact moment, your circadian clock sends out its strongest signal for sleep. Boom, that's the sweet spot. When they're out of sync, that's when you get that horrible feeling of being dead tired but completely wired. Your body is screaming for sleep, but your brain's clock is saying, nope, not yet.
And, getting this alignment right isn't just a nice to have. It is absolutely critical. Because sleep isn't just about your body shutting down and resting. No, it's an incredibly active, dynamic process that's essential for, well, pretty much everything.
Seriously, while you're out, your brain and body are going into overdrive. Your immune system is getting a tune-up. Your brain is sorting through the day's events, deciding what to keep as a memory and what to toss. It's helping you regulate your emotions. And maybe one of the most incredible jobs it does is it literally cleans itself. It's like a power washing crew comes in every night to flush out all the metabolic junk that builds up during the day.
There's this great quote from a famous sleep researcher, J. Allen Hobson, who put it perfectly. Sleep is of the brain, by the brain, and for the brain. And that really gets to the heart of it. Yeah, your muscles get a rest, but the brain is where the main event is happening. This nightly brainwashing, which scientists call the glymphatic system, is unbelievably important for our long-term brain health. And guess what? It really only kicks into high gear when we're deeply asleep.
All right, so now that we understand the science, the big question is, how do we actually use this? How can we take control? Well, that brings us to the practical part, a toolkit for mastering your sleep system. And every single tip is designed to help you manage those two timers we just talked about. Okay, it really is this simple. Step 1. Manage your circadian clock, process C. The best way to do that? Get a blast of bright light, preferably sunlight, first thing in the morning. That sends a powerful signal to your brain, hey, it's daytime. And then in the evening, do the opposite. Dim the lights to tell your brain it's time to wind down. Step 2, manage your sleep pressure, process S. This means avoiding things that artificially lower that pressure, so no long naps late in the afternoon, and be really careful with caffeine, because it literally works by getting in the way of those adenosine signals. And finally, step 3 is just setting the stage. A cool, dark, quiet room and a solid, consistent routine will help both of your timers work together beautifully.
Now, for people who deal with persistent issues like chronic insomnia, these tips are a great start, but sometimes more is needed. And the science on this is crystal clear. The #1 go-to first-line treatment isn't a sleeping pill. It's a type of therapy called CBTI, or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. And what it does is it basically uses these exact principles to help you retrain your brain and break the bad habits that fuel insomnia. So, we have these amazing behavioral tools which are super powerful. But of course, science is always pushing forward. So what does the future of sleep look like? What's coming down the pipeline?
Well, we're in the middle of a huge explosion of innovation. You've got AI-powered wearables that can track your sleep stages with mind-blowing accuracy. There are new technologies that use really subtle sounds or even temperature changes to help push you into deeper, more restorative sleep. And even the world of medicine is shifting. Instead of old-school sedatives that just knock you out, new drugs are being developed, like orexin antagonists, that are designed to work more elegantly with your brain's natural on-off switches for sleep.
But you know what's funny? With all this amazing, high-tech stuff coming out, the core message from all the research hasn't really changed. It's still beautifully simple. The most powerful, most robust thing you can possibly do for your sleep is to keep a regular schedule that's in sync with the natural rhythm of light and dark. It's not fancy, but it works.
So we'll leave you with a thought to chew on. Now that you know about the 2 timers ticking away inside your brain, the sleep pressure and the circadian clock, if you could press a reset button on just one thing about your sleep, what would you choose? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.